David Parker Ray, aka the Toy Box Killer, was a sadistic man suspected of killing up to 60 people. David Parker Ray lived in Elephant Butte, New Mexico, about 2 hours from Albuquerque, New Mexico. David built a chamber of horrors dubbed the Toy Box. This was a cargo container on his property that he filled with torturous devices, chains, whips, bondage devices, and more. It is said he targeted the homeless, street workers, or anyone he felt wouldn't be noticed if they go missing. Authorities believed his crime spree started in 1957 and spanned all the way to 1999. He would abduct his victims, lock them in the trailer, and play a horrendous audio tape detailing everything he was going to do to these poor women. He would beat, torture, and rape his victims for weeks on end. This all came to a head in March of 1999 when one of his victims managed to escape. Cynthia Hamarillo went against her better judgment and entered an RV driven by David Parker Ray. Once she was inside, he threw her down, pulled out a badge, and claimed to be the police. She instinctively knew he was not a police officer and was now fighting to free herself. He then handcuffed her and called for his accomplice, Cindy Hendy. Cindy emerged from behind a curtain and used a cattle prod on Cynthia in attempts to get her to stop struggling. This is where the absolute horror Cynthia endured would begin. Cynthia would make another attempt to escape as David Parker Ray drove his RV. She managed to free herself from the cabinet he had handcuffed her to. As he braked the RV, Cynthia flew forward, alerting Cindy that she had escaped her cuffs. Cindy called for David, who once again grabbed and subdued Cynthia. Cynthia recalls everything went black after this. Cynthia then was awoken to the chilling sound of David Parker Ray's voice playing from a tape recorder. This tape is believed to have been recorded in 1992, and it details to his victims what he planned to do to them. David would play this recording for his victims as they were bound and gagged in the toy box. Cynthia's need for survival kicked in and she started planning her escape. She took mental notes of conversations, the layouts of where she was being held, and reading signs posted around the house stating rules to follow. Cynthia was not confined to the toy box for the full duration of her kidnapping. He would often bring her inside the house he shared with Cindy. Cynthia knew to wait until the time was right to attempt to make her flee. Cynthia seized her chance when Cindy took a phone call, leaving Cynthia alone in a room with keys to her chains within reach. David Parker Ray was not in the house at this time. Cynthia was able to reach the keys and began to unlock the chains when Cindy came rushing back into the room, realizing her mistake, and a fight ensued. Cynthia knew this was the fight for her life, and as she fought Cindy, she was able to reach a phone and dial 911. As she continued to fight her attacker, she managed to grab an ice pick, which she used against her attacker, striking Cindy in the head. With her attacker injured, Cynthia was able to flee the home and run to a neighbor's house. In the home was an elderly couple who took in Cynthia and ensured she was safe. They kept her in a back room to hide her from her captors and waited for the police to arrive. David Parker Ray and his accomplice were both arrested. When authorities searched the property, they found an overwhelming amount of evidence of his sadistic ways. They found a notebook with names, dates, and details of what was done. They found jewelry and other personal items of other victims that he had kept as trophies. David admitted to kidnapping 40 people throughout the United States. He would not provide further information of said kidnapping victims. Cindy received a sentence of 36 years in prison. Cindy was released on July 15, 2019. David Parker Ray was sentenced to 224 years in prison. David passed away while incarcerated in May of 2002. It is suspected that David Parker Ray has had other accomplices throughout the years, but no others have been named. Although David is suspected of torturing and killing up to 60 people, no bodies have ever been found. How many victims did he really have? Where are they now? How many accomplices did he actually have? I do hope the family and friends of the victims get the closure they deserve.